Hi, you guys. Thank you guys all for being here. It's so good to see y'all. What's today? Friday? Happy Friday. Isn't it Friday? Yeah, it's Friday. Let's say hi, Jenny Lee, Goose, X Sparkle, F Baby, Naomi. It's good to see you in here. Katie, how are you? Kelly, Jamie. Hey, Carrie. Anastasia. Yes.
Excited, baby.
No, you really don't care.
I didn't know you were gonna laugh like this. Second.
That's my babe. But I hope you guys all had a really, really amazing day. It's Friday, so everyone should be happy about that. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Raquel, Pearl Clutcher. Okay, hopefully I didn't miss anybody. But when you come in, don't be afraid to say hey. So one thing I am gonna say is I don't want this to be like a really long live. As much as I love sitting here talking to you guys, I mean, I could be talking to you guys for hours, especially about this case. But I want for people, um, I don't want it to be so long and it's too much information and people can't, you guys know what I mean. When you're watching like a 4 or 5 hour live, it's so different than versus watching an hour live and trying to make things as easy as possible, right? So I'm going to try not to be on here all night. Definition of fun. How are you? It's good to see you in here. I'm going to try not to make this like all night, as hard as that is when I'm talking to you guys, you know? So hold on a second. God, I was about to flip. Thought I lost my camera. But anyway, um, there is so much to talk about when it comes to this case. And I'm just going to just do it one at a time. Hey, Flying Monk. Laura, how are you? Genuine. Yes, there's a lot. And what we are going to talk about today, obviously, is because you've seen it in the title. And Munchausen by proxy, even though I never say it right, is always something that I've always been very, very interested in. Like, because it's fascinating. And to be honest with you, I had a friend who I think may have had it because her children were always sick. And in a lot of ways, she always showed, to me, she showed all the signs. And I still talk to her every now and then till this day. And she is in counseling. But at the end of the day, it just seemed odd how her kids was always sick. She was always in the emergency room. She was always switching doctors. And then ultimately, she came to a point where she couldn't even stand doctors because she thought she was the doctor, you know? And I think that's the main issue with Dre Mccray. So most of you guys are familiar with this case, but this is for anybody who comes in here and stops by who's not familiar with this case, even though everybody is familiar with this case. Dre Mccray is a beauty influencer who has how many subscribers? Like 626K. She's a very big beauty influencer. I used to watch her. I followed her for about a year and a half, and I actually learned a lot off of her. I actually used to enjoy watching her content. I would say that she's a beauty influencer slash vlogger. Most beauty influencers on Facebook, um, they end up adding cooking to their after their makeup tutorials. I don't know why, but it just became a thing on, oh, is it 635K? Oh, that's not good for her. Um, or no, never mind. She gained, right? So how? That's crazy. But anyway, um, they usually ends up adding cooking. I don't understand why. But anyway, she is a mother of three. She has three beautiful children. Two are from a previous past marriage. And then her current marriage, they both share a baby boy. Um, she has always been very, very out there with her personality. And I think that that was one of the things that people just enjoyed about her. Very captivating, very funny. She had a great personality. She could do some makeup, and she used to do absolutely beautiful looks. And people enjoyed watching her. And then somewhere along the line, something changed in Dre. So I kind of just, gravitated away from her because there was just things about her that I didn't like. I didn't like how she used to cuss out her subscribers, well, her followers. And if it wasn't for her followers, she wouldn't be where she's at. So, and it would just be over silly things. Like if they asked her a question, I have spoken to Dre before, as far as like in her chat and things like that. And then there's another influencer that I used to follow on Facebook as well. And I've spoken to her in that chat as well. Okay. There's another influencer that we used to have in common, where we were both mutual subscribers to that influencer. And if you don't know who she is, her name is Nay, the MUA. And I've spoken with Dre in those chats before. She used to be cool, and something happened, and I just stopped following her. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I would check back and forth with her every now and then. She did very much inspire me to want to do makeup, to start my makeup career as a beauty influencer. And then everyone finds their platform. And Dre Mccray found her platform on Facebook. I found my platform on YouTube. And I would check on her every now and then to see how she was doing. But then all of a sudden, about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I see a post, and I can't remember who it was by, but they were talking about how Dre Mccray's husband is now in a coma from a brain injury. And I used to watch Dre Mccray and Vaughn. I used to watch their skits, and they would pretend like they're an elderly couple, and they were so funny, y'all. So funny, so talented. And I want to make this very clear. She wouldn't be where she's at if it wasn't for her husband. It was definitely a team effort for Dre to grow and to be where she is. And I'm not even just talking about with him doing skits with her, but also with him helping her, watching the kids while she was doing live streams, while she was cooking, while she was dedicating her time to growing. If it wasn't for Vaughn, she wouldn't be where she is. Her husband's name is Marvon. He is 29 years old, and he is now in a coma. There has been recent good news that he is responsive, and he is no longer on the ventilator. The whole thing that started this uproar for Dre is that she did not contact anybody in Marvon's family to let them know that something so tragic happened to their child, to their cousin, to their brother. Here he is laying in the hospital, and no one even knew. Marvon's family found out by social media that he was in a coma due to a brain injury. And the thing is that when Dre would talk about, Marvon, when she announced to her audience and made her audience aware that he had a brain injury, she wouldn't get into the details of why he had a brain injury and he was in a coma, which to me was sus in a lot of ways. Dre Mccray is very open to her audience. She tells her audience basically everything, every aspect of her life. That is why this case is turning into such a phenomenon, because she has literally vlogged every aspect of her life. I'm talking about going to trips to Mexico to smuggle medication, talking about every medication she's on. Then Dre, what I do know about Dre is she's always been about diets. She's always struggled with her weight. Now, I've always thought her weight was fine, but everybody's different. I don't think my weight is fine either. You know what I'm saying? But the person next to me could be like, Teaya, your weight is absolutely fine. But she recently started a alkaline vegan diet, which is a very controversial diet. But regardless, what started this whole case and what everybody started paying attention to, and then groups started, which is Justice for Vaughn, what is it, Exposing Dre Mccray. These groups started because Dre Mccray would not let Mar Vaughn's family see him, and specifically his mother, his biological mother. His parents, his biological father and stepmother, eventually were able to see him, but his mother, which her name is Letitia, she was not able to see her son. And that's what brought attention to this case. That's when everyone started advocating for Letitia and her family, because I don't care what the situation is, no mother should be kept away from her child at such a crucial time, at such a vulnerable time, at such a sensitive time. It doesn't matter what their past was. And even 2 weeks prior to him being in a coma, literally, he was talking about his family. Now, he was somewhat estranged from his family, but he was finally starting to talk to them again. He wanted to go visit them 2 weeks prior. He had spoken with them on the phone. They were communicating. So regardless, no child, I don't even care if that is what he wanted. He should not have been denied. His mother should not have been denied to see him. And it made me mad. It made a lot of people mad. And once people started paying attention to this, then they started paying attention to Dre. Dre is the person. Dre as the beauty influencer, Dre as a mother, Dre as most importantly, as a wife, and how her husband ended up in the situation that he is in. That brings us to now. That's just me trying to sum it up the best way I can to anybody who comes across this video and doesn't know much. But absolutely, Teaya, my mother-in-law, and I don't speak. She has made my life absolutely hell when she was around. But I will say, if my husband was in that situation, I never tell her. Exactly, Jenny Lee. Neither would I. This is how I look at it. I'm going to look at this for what it is. And there is a lot of people who have their own opinions, and everybody's entitled to their own opinions. But like I said, and how I'll continue to say, my fiance is estranged from his father. But if my fiance was ever in that predicament and my fiance told me, look, if anything happens to me, I don't want to see my dad. He has never been around. I don't want him around. I wouldn't respect his wishes when it comes to that. Because even though that's your father and you may be estranged from him, to me, it's not my place to deny a parent to see his child. And I would tell my fiance that to his face. I would seriously say, then you better give somebody else control, because if it's my choice, I'm going to let your dad see you if you are in a critical state. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it should be, in my opinion, because unfortunately, if it wasn't, his dad isn't the greatest, but unfortunately, if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't be here. So even though I don't know his father very well, I will still always respect his father, because he has an amazing son who is an amazing father, an amazing boyfriend, an amazing person with the biggest heart that drives me crazy sometimes, but is literally the sweetest man. So even though I don't know my fiance's father, I'll respect him, because if it wasn't for him, my fiance wouldn't be here. So of course God too, but relationship isn't important. Respect is the important thing. Thank you. Exactly, Jamie. Jenny Lee. Oh, I read that. Alberta and Stella. I am so happy his mom finally got to see him. Amen. Yes. And that's the most wonderful part. Finally, Letitia was able to see her child. She was able to look at him. She said she touched his hand, and I think she said it felt like he squeezed it. She seen, he tried to open his eyes. She said it even looked like he was smiling a little bit. That is amazing, and that he's responsive and he's off the ventilator. And I pray every day, and I will continue to pray. And I do not just pray for Letitia and her family, and most importantly, Mom Marvon, but I also pray for Dre, and I pray for her children, because this is bad. The whole situation is very dark and sinister to me. So the reason why I wanted to talk about Munchausen by proxy versus DV is because they are two different things. And I think sometimes, even like when I watch different lives, I think sometimes people kind of coincide them, and they're not coincide. Obviously, it could be both. It could definitely be both, but I want to break down the behavior that Dre exudes in every aspect. And I mean, I definitely think that there was some mental and verbal abuse, allegedly, in my opinion. This is all allegedly. This is all my opinion, obviously. But there definitely was some verbal abuse there and mental abuse. I do think that Dre Mccray was I can never say it right, malignant narcissist. She shows every characteristic of a narcissist in every way, shape, and form. Like, no matter what the situation is, she always turns everything into herself. Everything is about herself. It just doesn't matter. It's all about her. And I think that's why Dre has grown as much as she is, not necessarily because she's a narcissist, because she's so good and so animated at talking about herself. I'm just saying, and making everything about herself. So let's talk about Munchausen by proxy first. Just got here. Sorry if I was talked about. I'm so upset. KJ posted Marvin Sr.'s mugshots and brought up his channel history and other family issues they had. What the fuck does this have to do with Vaughn? She's pathetic. Yep. And I have been talking about KJ and the way she's covering this case, and I'm sure I will continue to talk about KJ and the way she's covering this case. Like, seriously, why would she do that? You see, this is the person that should not be covering this case. We'll talk about this towards the end, you guys. I mean, she's an evil fucking... She is disgusting. She is a disgrace to the human race. I'm telling you right now, you guys, this is why I'm bringing awareness about her, and I will continue to, because she just gets worse and worse. She wants all the attention to be on her, and she's so pissed that it's not, that she's going to do everything she can to stir up bullshit. See, now that makes me mad. See, I wish you guys wouldn't have told me about that right now, because now I'm mad. Yeah, I'm just going to ignore her right now. But I will talk about it towards the end or after this live. I don't even want her to be coincided with this one. Like, she is so disgusting. I'm sorry that happened. I'm sorry that happened. She's like, yeah, I got kids and ain't trying to go to jail, to say to the least. Girl, I hear you, little mama of 5. I like your name. I know you have. I've been listening every time. Furious. Apparently, he struggles with addiction, which makes it even more awful. She brought it up. Oh no, I'm so sorry I brought it up. No. That's okay. I'm glad you told me. It's just she pisses me off. She's just I don't even. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Okay. Hold on, you guys, 1 second. Welcome, sweetheart. Welcome, little mama 5. All right, hold on. I'm going to bring up something here. I'm definitely calling her out for that, though. I'll tell you that much right now, because she's not going to get away with this. Okay. Oh my, I just, okay. Let's read a little bit of this for a second, you guys, okay? Munchausen syndrome by proxy, or Munchausen by proxy syndrome, I thought it was, but MSP, or Munchausen by proxy, is a psychological disorder marked by attention-seeking behavior by a caregiver through those who are in their care. MSP is relatively rare behavioral disorder. It affects a primary caretaker, often the mother. The person with MSP gains attention by seeking medical help for exaggerated or made-up symptoms of a child in their care. As healthcare providers strive to identify what's causing the child's symptoms, the deliberate actions of the parent or caretaker can often make the symptoms worse. The person with MSP does not seem to be motivated by desire for any type of material gain. While healthcare providers are often unable to identify the specific cause of the child's illness, they may not suspect the parent or caretaker of doing anything to harm the child. In fact, the caregiver often appears to be very loving and caring and extremely distraught over the child's illness. People with MSP may create or exaggerate a child's symptoms in several ways. They may simply lie about symptoms, alter tests, such as contaminating a urine sample, falsify medical records, or they may actually induce symptoms through various means, such as poisoning, suffocating, starving, and causing infection. What are the symptoms of Munchausen syndrome by proxy? Certain characteristics are common in a person with MSP, including a parent or caregiver, usually a mother, maybe a healthcare professional, is friendly and cooperative with the healthcare providers, appears quite concerned. Some may seem overly concerned with their child, may suffer with Munchausen syndrome, a related order in which a person repeatedly acts as if they have a physical or mental illness when they are not really sick. Other possible signs are the child has a history of many hospitalizations, often with strange set of symptoms. Worsening of the child's symptoms generally is reported by the parent and is not witnessed by the hospital staff. The child's reported condition and symptoms do not agree with the result of test. There may be more than one unusual illness or death of children in the family. The child's condition improves in the hospital, but symptoms reoccur when the child returns home. Blood and lab samples may not match the blood of the child. There may be signs of chemicals in the child's blood or stool, urine. The exact cause of it is not known, but researchers are looking at the roles of biological and psychological factors in its development. Some theories suggest that a history of abuse or neglect as a child or the early loss of a parent may be factors in its development. Some evidence suggests that major stress, such as marital problems, can trigger MSP. That's very interesting. So, yeah, that definitely, I would say, the only thing that could be excluded, obviously, is I don't think that Munchausen by proxy, I think any woman can inflict that on a child. I think it's more common with a child, but a woman can do that with her husband. It does. It sounds just like her, doesn't it, Christina? I'm going to show you guys this woman who did this to her husband. Not Dre, but this was somebody else. Hold on. I'm going to bring her. And I think in one of this list, it is a woman with her husband. Ultimately, this woman actually did this maliciously because I think she wanted her husband's money or something like that. But I want to share this with you guys because I do think that this is interesting. Right here. Hold on. Okay, so these Munchausen by proxy cases are horrifying. So we all know who this is, right? That is Gypsy Rose and her mother, Dee Dee. And I will never forget this case. This case is so sad. They have a series about it on Hulu. I used to watch it. I don't know if they still have it or not. You guys can you guys can let me know if they still have that. But I used to watch it all the time. And a lot of people were covering this case. Obviously, some for the wrong reason. But ever since the shocking, lurid, whatever, and heartbreaking story of Gypsy Rose and her mother, Dee Dee, first hit the internet on a BuzzFeed News in 2016, there has been renewed fascination with children who suffer at the hands of parents with Munchausen by proxy syndrome. There have been plenty of other disturbing Munchausen by proxy syndrome cases in the news over the last few decades, and they all go to prove, sadly, that the story of Dee Dee and Gypsy Rose was just told on the screen of HBO's Mommy Dearest. Oh, that was on HBO. Mommy Dead and Dearest did not happen in a vacuum. Huh. Okay, so that there must have been like some kind of series or something, or a documentary. Dr. Gail Saltz, Associate Professor of Psychiatric and Presbyterian Hospital School of Medicine, tells that Munchausen by proxy syndrome is often undetected. It's an undetected mental illness and a form of abuse in which a caregiver fabricates an illness or injury or induces an illness or injury upon someone in their care, most often a child, for the purpose of being a victim by association and getting medical attention and care from others. She adds that it does affect mostly women, namely mothers and their children, but that victim can also be an elderly or disabled person they care for. Saltz understands why audiences are so fascinated by the syndrome and the suspicions of it in the media, it is one of the more curious mental illnesses because we don't really know what causes it, nor do we have very successful means of treating it. It is an unusual and it can cause terrible harm to those who are most vulnerable, she adds. Nothing that is especially difficult for people to understand why a mother would knowingly harm their child. The story of Dee Dee is not the first case of Munchausen by proxy that has come to the public's attention. It's just the first one that has adapted for TV multiple times. The following cases provide other views. Mary Beth Tinning. Does anybody know who that is? Oh, yes. This is the lady who used to M newborns and involves the birth of her 9 children who are suspected of having been M at the hands of their mother, often shortly after their birth. It is thought that only one child, Jennifer, passed away of natural causes at 8 days old. Her siblings, however, would not live past the age of 4. According to the Rolling Stones, Tinning would frequently bring her infant children to the emergency room, one after the other, where they were treated for symptoms like seizures. Oh my gosh. Seizures, cardiac arrest, and Tinning's hometown of Sketchney, New York, locals apparently whispered the family had a death gene. By the time Tinning's 5th child died, doctors believed it was simply a rampant string of SIDS related to deaths. Tinning was only convicted in the death of her youngest child, Tammy Lynn. She was charged with second-degree murder and is sentenced to 20 years to life in prison, where she is now. She's still there. Holy crap. Okay. Number 2, Kathy Bush. More than 20 years ago in South Florida, Jennifer Bush was taken from her family and placed in the care of the state when it was believed her mother, Kathy Bush, was intentionally making her sick as a result of Munchausen by proxy. In 1995, it was alleged that Bush was giving her daughter extra doses of medicine in order to possibly intentionally infecting her in order to take her to the emergency room to be treated. According to The Sun, by the time Jennifer was 8, she had spent over 640 days in the hospital, undergone 40 medical procedures, had 1,819 non-surgical treatments, according to the investigators. Despite Bush being charged with aggravated I'm not going to say the A word, she was sentenced to 5 years, and The Sun indicates serving 8 years. Jennifer maintains that she never did that to her child. Oh my Lord. Lacey Spears. Chilling to the bone, the case of Lacey Spears, a popular blogger who was convicted in the death of her son, Garnet, after poisoning him with salt. Rolling Stone's account of Spears' treatment of Garnet is haunting. Lacey's faithful supporters. She had been secretly poisoning the child with life-threatening doses of salt through a feeding tube. It was then revealed that Spears had asked a neighbor to enter their home and dispose of Garnet's feeding bags, which was allegedly filled with the equivalent of 69 packets of salt. Lacey Spears blames doctors for her son's salt overdose. The mommy vlogger convicted of M, her 5-year-old child. My Lord. Number 4, Lisa Hayden Johnson. Hayden Johnson's treatment of her son is particularly disturbing because of how public she made her son's medical ordeals. According to the Daily Mail, Hayden Johnson claimed he suffered from illnesses including diabetes, food allergies, cerebral palsy, cystic fibrosis, and an intolerance to sunlight, and subjected him to over 325 medical procedures, some allegedly done in home. She would publicize her son's alleged alleged illnesses in exchange for access to high profile events like attending the X Factor tappings and meetings. Former Prime Minister Tony Blair, she is currently in jail for her crimes. What the? I'm just going to read one more. Blanca Montano, sentenced to 13 years in prison in 2013. Her cruel and unusual role in the death of her infant daughter. Blanca Montano's case of Munchausen is particularly tough to read. ABC News stated Montano was charged with child A after her daughter was found to be suffering from 9 different apparently aggravated infections. After being admitted to the hospital for flu-like symptoms in February 2011, it was later found out she had been infecting her daughter with fecal. Oh my Lord Jesus. With fecal matter and various other bacteria while her daughter was in the hospital. You guys get the point. Lord, I will never understand Munchausen by proxy. I will never understand it. I don't get it. But what I've noticed from reading these, okay, is that it is easy for somebody who has that disorder. It just seems like I noticed that seizures were a lot on these lists. Did you guys notice that? And to me, that is very telling. Let's just read one more, and then that's it. I'll read the last one. Okay, Sandy Gregory Perica. The story of Gregory, I just want to make sure I'm not muted. The story of Gregory emerged when her daughter, Julie Gregory, spoke on her mother's alleged in her book, Sickened, The True Story of a Lost Childhood. In the book, Gregory claimed that her mother would her in ways that might present as Munchausen by proxy, including one instance where she allegedly used to dig through her mother's purse looking for her special suckers, which turn out to be a pack of matches she is encouraged to eat. While there is some dispute around the veracity of Gregory's memoirs, it remains an intriguing example of how Munchausen by proxy can be used to pathologize a childhood trauma, as well as how the reputation of the syndrome has been readily applied and potentially inappropriate. 2 graphic accounts of alleged child A. There are only a handful of the Munchausen cases known and documented for the public record, but they remain nonetheless as fascinating as they are disturbing. Yeah, definitely disturbing. So, to me personally, I do feel like in a lot of ways, it was very easy for Dre, allegedly, in my opinion, it was very easy for her to take advantage of the fact this was a healthy man. Okay. Marvin never had seizures ever. If he ever had seizures, um, he wouldn't have been a Marine. Okay. So even when she would take him to the hospital, when they had administered tests to figure out what was causing these seizures, he doesn't have anything to cause these seizures, right? Like, as far as when it comes to medical tests. Um, what is it that causes seizures? What's the disease? I can't remember what it is. But the point is that I find that very odd how the doctors couldn't find out what was causing his seizures, right? But in my opinion, you guys seen how much attention Dre would get. Epilepsy. Thank you, Alberta and Stella. Thank you so much, Epilepsy. You guys seen, and thank you too, Jamie. You guys seen that how much attention she gets. You're literally sitting there while your husband is having, say, 8 seizures, and you're on camera. All of this attention that she was getting when she was going to the hospital while her husband is laying there fighting for his life, she's taking selfies. Okay. Everybody's feeling bad for her. And that's what I think, obviously, with Munchausen by proxy, that's where you get all the attention. People feel bad for you. When you're in the hospital, you get attention, you get special treatment, right? So I'm not a doctor. Nobody here is a doctor, but it definitely very much shows that she has apparent signs of Munchausen by proxy, right? I mean, it just makes sense. So the one thing that was very important to me and what I wanted to go over is I don't think that everyone has ever really talked about all of the medicine that Dre talks about. Like, there's a lot of medication that I've heard her mention, like as far as medication and herbs. So I think, oh, sorry guys, I dropped something. So I think that would be something that I want to go over with you guys. So I'm going to bring up how much medication she talked about. I want to talk about the medication that she mentioned, if that makes sense. So I'm going to look and see if I have it real quick. Okay, let me share my screen. Um, is it Lebu72? How are you? Hey, honey Locklear. This is me, Jamie. She has one in the kitchen. That's where she asked if he wanted the tea. Yeah, we're gonna go over some of the medications that she's mentioned. I don't know if I can get all of them, but some of these medications I want to go over, the side effects and everything. Thank you, Goose. Okay. Okay. So one of the medications that she mentions is kava. Okay. So kava, I really don't know exactly what kava is. I just know this it's something that she uses. It's something that I've heard her mention. And it says the side effects is dry, scaly, flaky skin, yellowed skin, hair, fingernails, or toenails, red eyes, puffy face, decreased ability to absorb protein, weight loss, lung problems, blood in your urine, blood cell disorders that can make it easier for you to bleed or get sick. Now I'm going to do the next one. And I have to, yep, I'm going to bring up all those ones too. I have to back out and do it again because I don't trust doing it. Okay, let's bring this up real quick. So this is passion flower. She also talks about passion flower. And I want to talk about the possible interactions. Anticonvulsants such as phenytoin, dilaudid, barbiturates, benzos, Xanax and diazepam. It causes insomnia. Holy crap. Okay. So thanks for highlighting this because didn't she say that he was on that, the Z word? I'm pretty sure she's mentioned that he's been on that. And these are the possible interactions that passion flower can obviously interact with. These medications right here, which is the Z word, which I'm not going to say. And she sure as hell did say that she was on that. You see, this is how serious this shit is, you guys. Herbs are nothing to play with, and it does matter what medication that you're on. People think herbs and they think natural. It comes from the earth. It's not going to interact with anything. I mean, she even told him when they were going to the hospital not to tell the doctor, what he's on. Don't get into details, but you have to. That's important. It's not a game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to bring up one more to show you guys real quick. Hold on. Still here? Okay, hold on. I'm going to share this. This is important, so I'm going to share this real quick. It's a long list, but so this is about the K. I'm not going to say it. I'll say it one time. Kratom. This is literally the list of so many things. The risk factors of using K. Okay. Hold on. I lost my place. Okay, here it is right here. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys. Look at that. I can make it bigger. Huh. That's cool. Okay, so the known reported adverse effects, toxicology, both general and specific, to organ systems as applicable. The most common adverse effects with the use of K are nausea, vomiting, constipation, stomach upset, and either drowsiness, dizziness, or irritability, agitation, dry mouth, sweating, sedation, and tachycardia have been reported in the doses above. Some of this stuff I cannot read. Liver functioned. You can also have withdrawals from K, obviously, if you don't have them. It says presentation of K. I'm not going to say that word. Can be varied and should be treated symptomatically. In general, patients may be tachycardic and may present with respiratory depression. If seizures, darn it, if seizures are present, now I can't read it, such as lorazepam, is likely going to be effective. Holy crap. What in the hell? Wow. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to read this is because it says if seizures are present. Pursing fluid. Like, you just can't play with people's lives like this, you guys. Like, this K stuff, this isn't a joke. Like, look at how big this is. This is 2 pages long of the risks, and I'm not going to read all that. That's just crazy. I just never thought. It isn't legal in some states. Okay. But I'm just saying, like, oh my gosh, she take this and has hyperthyroidism, is asking, really? That's what I'm talking about. I need to look more into this, because Little Mama of 5, you can message me. You can come up on panel if you want. It's completely up to you. But this stuff is not a game. This is serious, because there's been many times where he has spoken about him being on, obviously, Xanax. Um, what was the other one that he was on? And then these medications interact with one another. Like, and then you have her telling people and telling, thank you, Goose, sweetie. You have her telling her husband, when we go to the hospital, don't tell them that you're taking this herb. Don't tell them that you're taking that herb. But don't you know that if you're not, whenever you go to the doctors, people to me are just so irresponsible. And then you're also preaching about these types of things to your audience. You know, yes, she said he was on Ativan before. She said he was on Z. Like, I know that he was on, they both were on, I think, pain medication. So all of these things you think in your head, and I think that too. I had no freaking clue that herbs and all of that kind of stuff, I wouldn't think that that would interact with Western medication. No, I would think, you know, herbs are natural. So it's just so funny how we can all be so naive by the fact that people say it's natural. So, okay, it's natural. You know what I mean? But it's still something that you have to be very aware of. Thank you. Very aware of and pay attention to. Look, even when my doctor prescribes me a new med, I'm freaked out about what side effects it will have. No way I'm listening to some girl on the internet on what to take. Okay. Anyways, I want to talk a little bit about this. I feel like this is important. And that's about parasocial relationships, you guys. Like, I feel like with influencers, you know, especially how big you get, how you grow, you have to watch your favorite creator, okay? Enjoy their content and keep it moving. Keep going. Just keep going. Go to the next creator. Go to the next creator. You don't have to get so invested into a creator or a beauty influencer, a guru or whatever. You don't have to get so invested to a point where you're listening to everything that they're saying and you're taking everything they say as if it's the only thing that matters and it's the end all be all. You know what I mean? There are too many people who don't understand the concept of parasocial relationships. Okay. And I really do believe with Dre and her followers, there's a huge disconnect there. No one should be able to tell you what you got. You got herpes, I can cure it. You got AIDS, I can cure it. You got cancer, I can cure it. No beauty influencer, for one, should ever be able to sit up there and tell her audience all these things, and you sit there and take that as if she knows what the hell she's talking about because she doesn't have a clue. That is so irresponsible to your audience, to the people who look at you like, you know, you're this wonderful, wonderful person. And at the end of the day, you are doing nothing but being toxic. That's toxic. To sit there and listen to somebody that you don't know tell you that she can cure things with her herbs. Okay? Nobody should have that much power over anybody, especially somebody that you don't even know, somebody that you never even met. Okay? You cannot do stuff like that. And of course, she's irresponsible, but the people who watch her have to take some responsibility too. You can't just put this all on her. You can't be that naive, okay, and think just because you like somebody that you get so personally invested with somebody that you're listening to everything that they're saying and everything that they're recommending. It don't work like that. That's toxic parasocial relationships. And you should enjoy a creator. If you're talking about things in life and all those things, there's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to when you start talking about a creator who has no kind of medical background experience giving you advice on what to take and not what not to take, and Western medicine, don't take that, take all of these herbs and I can cure everything, there's a problem there. Yes, she's irresponsible with her followers, but guess what? The followers have to take some responsibility too. This is reality. This isn't La La Land. You have to be very careful with who you listen to online. You shouldn't listen to anybody online, to be honest with you. You really shouldn't. You can take advice or whatever, but when somebody's recommending something to you, you need to do your research. You need to do your research. You can't take what they're saying as gold because you don't know. You just don't know. Enjoy that person's content and keep it moving. Go to the next creator. Go to the next creator. If you only want to watch that creator, that's fine. But in no way should I be able to stand up here and tell you, oh, if you drink this Pepsi every day, I promise you, you're going to lose weight. They say that Pepsi is fattening, but it's not. I promise you, it's going to lose weight. If you listen to me, you're a fool. That's all I have to say about that. That's ridiculous. You don't believe everything on the internet. Exactly, especially from now listen, if I'm talking about makeup, that's different. I went to school for it. I know how to do makeup. Something that I've learned, something that I've studied. I have a background with it. However, that is completely different than when it comes to your life. What you put in your body. Your body is a temple. It's precious. Okay? You can't just jump from Western medication to herbs without seeking medical advice. You just can't do that. And there are people still to this day who are doing those types of things. And all you're doing is playing with your health. That's all you're doing. Risking your health for the sake of a beauty influencer that gets online and just runs her fucking mouth. That's not how it works. Shame on her for being so irresponsible with her audience. But guess what? The audience has to take some responsibility too. Okay? You ever heard of Jim Jones? Okay, so when she was strictly makeup, her advice was fine because it was giving good, affordable product reviews. But it got bad with her diets, started getting to people's head. Exactly. If you do want to come up, I'll drop the link, but there's no pressure. It's completely up to you. What I'm going to do now is I am going to show a couple videos. Damn, I forget how to drop a link. Hold on. Right? Kool-Aid. Like, and I know that there's some people out there, you know, that they love the people that they start watching, and you know, they start to trust the people that they start watching. Here's one thing that I've learned. I don't trust a damn person on the motherfucking internet. Sorry. I just don't. Okay? I just don't. There has been maybe a few that I've met, but the majority that I have met, I learned the hard way, and I'm not gonna keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. That's not how it works. But what I will say is that I have never, and I mean I have never, yes, makeup advice, absolutely. I've taken makeup advice from Dre herself. But as far as health advice, I would never, ever take advice from my favorite influencer. Okay. And she's not the only influencer who does these things, you know, obviously. But in the same sense, she is the only influencer who is getting this much attention because her husband is fighting for his life in a coma right now. And there are just so many things that don't add up. So I know a lot of you have already seen the you probably watched Justice for All and seen him and LB up there. But I do want to play a little bit of that and discuss it before I end this, because I think it's very, very interesting. Some of the things that were said, and what it is it is like a series of police reports that she has done in the past. And I do have a few things to say about that, because I think it's important for us to discuss together, because I wanted to get you guys' input. Yeah, people can be very naive. I think it's more or less naive. Yes, you can like an influencer. You can follow along with their makeup tutorials. You can follow along with them when they cook. But when they're sitting there telling you that they can cure cancer, you need to be looking at them sideways, okay? I understand that there's conspiracy theories, and a lot of people are anti-government, and I do go by a lot of conspiracy theories. I'm a conspiracy theorist myself. But if this is a person who has no medical background, nothing to back up the information that she's telling you, and she's just solely going on the fact of trying to be a wannabe doctor who wasn't even a doctor. You're trying to be like Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi was not a doctor, okay? He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't even an herbalist. He has no kind of education to back up any of his claims. And to me, that's who she wanted to be like. You want to be like a doctor who was never a doctor. Okay? That's all I can say. It sounds confusing, I know. I'll try to get on or message once the baby falls asleep. Absolutely. Or you can message me and we can, or you can come on another time, sweetie. It's completely up to you. But I do thank you so much for being here, though. So hold on. So me playing a few of the details about some of the police reports that has happened in the past, you guys. I just want you to hear a couple of them, because then that goes to the DV part, as far as Dre and the things that she deprived Vaughn from, the way that she treated him, all of those types of things. I do think that there was something deeper that she was trying to do. So I just want you to hear a little bit of this before we talk about the DV part. So hold on one second. Let me bring this up.
Documented her side of these things.
Absolutely.
My opinion, with Vaughn's voice.
Yes. Absolutely. Very well stated.
This is going to talk about a few of the police reports that has happened in the past prior to him being in a coma. And also, I do want you guys to keep in mind that if you have listened to, without a crystal ball, which, as painful as that is, she does have audio over there of, her sources only gave it to her allegedly, which is a lie. But anyway, the audio is there where it was obvious that she basically called the authorities on Vaughn simply because he was taking his computer. So that should give you some indication of this woman's thought process and where her head is at. The control that she has over him, so much to a point that she called the authorities just because he took his own computer. So I wanted you guys to listen to a little bit of this.
Domestic DV, disorderly conduct. Right, whose name? Right there, Dre. That was 2019. Another 2019 DV, domestic. You know what that means? Disorderly conduct. Dre. 2020, 5/15/2020 DV. I'm sure that was Dre. 5/27. This is a very interesting overdose. Overdose. Dre Mccray.
Now, I think I sent you that.
You did.
That one? Okay.
We'll go over that one in just a minute because that one's shocking.
Yes. Okay.
As well. 9/1/2020. Harassment. Dre Mccray. 1/1/21. Fireworks. 3/1/2021. Harassment. Dre. 3/1/2021. Security check. 8/2/21. Public assistant welfare check. 8/2/21. Public assistant welfare check.
My question with that is,
Go
I
ahead.
wonder if she was in town then. That's something that I side noted, that I wonder, because you see that they were anonymous or one was made by the web.
This is Justin just basically naming all of the times that, thank you, Goose, for dropping his link. This is him naming all the times that she has called the authorities on Vaughn or whatever. I heard fireworks, so she called the authorities over fireworks too. This woman is a piece of work. She really is.
Wondering if she was in town or if she was.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep.
Yeah. So she may have not been home at that time.
Yes.
So do you want to go through the one we just read, or do you want to do the other one?
Yeah. Do you have that other one? Would you like to read it?
Yeah. Give me just a second.
And keep in mind with that one, it's not a full report that's taken. It's called the CAD, which is like the call log of it. But still, it's still information.
Just give me a second to pull it up. Their local time, and this, it says incident type overdose. The caller, Dre Mccray, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the narrative. Agreed to leave for the night. Marvin refused medical treatment. UNK, if he will be, what does UNK mean?
Unknown.
Oh, unknown if he will be aggressive with responders. Possible won't wake up. So allegedly, Dre is saying all of this to
Yes. The 911 dispatcher. Yep.
correct. Yes. So she's saying he's refused medical treatment. It's unknown if he'll be aggressive with the responders. Possibly he won't wake up. She's going to lock up the dogs. She's saying that allegedly Vaughn has slurred speech, drooling, eyes rolled back. What's RP mean?
Reporting party.
Okay.
So
Reporting party recorded his behavior.
Mhm.
Also when he was acting odd. He has been unpredictable. Last night he scared reported party. AD. What's AD?
I don't know.
Oh, so I think it means and juvenile so bad they locked themselves in the back room away from him. Currently slumped over couch, unconscious. Has been verbally aggressive. Marvon. Reporting party stated she blanked several days ago. DV related. Marvon slumped over couch, possibly under influence of narcotics, HX and DV. What's that mean? Do you have any?
I don't know. Oh,
Good.
well, the DV is the obvious, but I don't know what the HXN.
Has not been verbal or physical today. Reporting party is afraid of him and his behavior. So, what is your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are, just based off of her videos of recording the seizures, is that he potentially had a seizure bad enough where she felt like she did have to call 911. But then she puts her spin on it that it's because of a domestic issue or he's aggressive. We have heard her time and time again say he doesn't know what he's doing after these seizures. Don't let him get up. Don't let him get up. While the girls are there taking care of him. So, without having an actual opinion on it, I'd like to compare the dates. Wants to help him with his mental health better. She walked herself. She took herself to the emergency room.
From work, from driving a car, from having a phone, all of these things. She wanted full control. Foot had been broke, I'll just say, before, but was not sure how it broke after Marvon took his cell phone from her hands. After that incident, her left foot broke.
We see it here. How she broke her foot.
Anyways, and even if people prescribe and become incorrect, they don't. All right, they don't. So, anyways, but I've been thinking about doing the stars anyways, because number one, most of you guys know, if you follow my joke, I broke my foot again. It's the same foot that I broke last time. I didn't even fall down. I just tripped. So the fact that happened, number one, is annoying, really annoying, because it's very inconvenient for me. And it's like, last time that I broke my foot, I was in a very deep, dark depression, which also pisses me off whenever people laugh. I mean, and just to.
Let me read this report again. Officer says, I asked her numerous times if she could explain to me how her left foot broke. Andrea kept saying, I don't know. I asked Andrea again how she broke her foot.
Why couldn't she tell the police that to give the police ideas? I mean, I've talked to people that's very close to Dre, and in their opinion, she has manipulated a lot of officials in different aspects. You know, you just don't.
We see it here.
Yeah.
She's very evasive about it when she goes to the hospital. She's very evasive when she's on the phone, and then she lightens the load. Well, but we're not scared of him. He hasn't been violent to me before.
So it says on 5/14 between 1900 and 2200 hours at their address, Andrea Mccray had husband's cell phone. She was scrolling through his text messages. Marvon Mccray took his cell phone from Andrea, and she said after that incident, her left foot broke.
Doesn't say she tripped, leaves it open where she could possibly
Get him in trouble.
exactly plants that seed. Oh, I broke it before, and then I tripped, and which would be the facts according to what the video we just watched. But no, she plants the seed.
Yes, plants the seed of. It literally says Marvon Mccray took his cell phone from, I'll just say Dre, and said after that incident, her left foot broke. So after he took the phone from her, her left foot broke, is what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Dre advised her.
Yeah, they messed up there.
Okay, yeah, her foot had been broke, I'll just say, before, but was not sure how it broke after Marvon took his cell phone from her hands.
And there's where she pours a little bit of water on the seed.
Yep.
Just a little bit of water.
Yep. Dre said Marvon did not push her, but she wasn't sure how her foot broke. The report taken for informational purposes only. So she's saying he didn't push me, but I also don't know.
Then why bring it up?
Exactly.
So she wants to tell on herself first that she took his phone and was going through her text messages. So she tells on herself to make sure her truth was told of her part. But then here goes all the evasive seed planting that.
She isolated them all, no work or school. That is 1,000%. I 1,000% agree, in my opinion, that is the reason she wanted them isolated from school, from work, from driving a car, from having a phone, all of these things. She wanted full control.
She enlisted them in Slay University.
Yes, date is a couple of days after police report, after 14th or 15th, May 2020. She went live May 19, 2020, saying that she tripped and broke it.
And Justin, this is what I'm saying. The help of everybody, this is where we're going to be able to connect all those dots. Because I have the videos, but just like you guys going through each. But when we hear this stuff, we go, oh, wait, she talked about that.
Yes.
Wait,
she's documented it all.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
And I bet I would not doubt that one bit. I believe she was probably, in my opinion, drunk. And this is the byproduct of it.
Okay, I just wanted you guys to hear a little bit of that. That one police report. There are many, and I think pretty sure Justice for All read out all of the police reports. I think there was 25 police reports of her calling the police, but even that one specific time that they were just talking about, so she called the police on him and basically put it out there that she broke her leg, but wouldn't say exactly how she broke her leg. So she basically said she doesn't know how she broke her leg. Now, I don't know if it was that instance, but she has broke her leg before, I remember. But I think that was from something else, like dancing or something like that. So you call the cops on him. He has his cell phone. You snatch his cell phone off of him to look through his phone, which is disrespectful in the first place. If you want to look through his phone, just say, give me your phone so I can look at you. Don't snatch it away from him like he's a child. So first time it was dancing on a live. Okay, I thought so. I remember her talking about that back in the day. But so she broke her leg the second time. She put it out there. And she put that out there for a reason. And she ends up calling the police on him. I think they ended up going to the hospital because of her leg or something. The police are asking her, how did you break your leg? And she's not telling them, but kind of insinuating that, in my opinion, she was kind of insinuating that it was Vaughn. That's what I think. They said they applied for many more police reports they're waiting to get. Yeah, 25 times that she called the police. And to me, here's the thing. Marvon had no cell phone. He wasn't working. Okay. What needs to be acknowledged is that he was a Marine. Just because he was a Marine, I don't think that means that he had to be medically discharged. I'm sure that there could have been a desk job that he could have done or something like that. But I think Dre, from what I heard somebody say, Dre wanted to move. So he gets medically discharged from being a Marine, which is all he knew. You know, he was young, I think, when he went into the Marines. He could have had a future with the Marines, and I'm sure that's what he wanted, but he sacrificed a lot for Dre and his family. And then I'm pretty sure Dre got pregnant very quickly. So he's at home. He has no phone. He's isolated from his family. His family lives far away. So basically his whole life is his children and Dre, with no phone, no kind of line of communication to be able to communicate with anybody else but Dre and the children. He helped Dre as far as Dre doing, like I said, her makeup lives. You know, she was live constantly doing makeup. You would have to be very consistent, going live a lot in order to build an audience like that, you know. And he was the one who was helping her, you know. He was the one who was watching the kids. He was the one who was cooking and cleaning, you know what I mean? So he dedicated everything, his whole life, to her. There was a audio And you guys heard that audio because I played it a few days ago. There was an audio of him saying when they were arguing, and he said, all you did was use me for your own personal gain. Okay. Now, to me, when Vaughn started going to see, first of all, she said that it was a physical therapist, whatever. And you're going to see that when you go over to Justin's channel, there were things that she was saying about this physical therapist. For one, she was saying he was a witch doctor. This woman it's never ending with this woman. It's never ending. But anyway, I seriously think that when he started going to therapy, I think that gave him courage. And I think his therapist wanted for him to be in a better place. He wasn't happy with his life. I feel like, how would you feel if you gave up everything for somebody and you supported them, you encouraged them, you helped them get to where they are? And I felt like, and you feel like with Vaughn, and I think in Vaughn's situation, he looked at it like, it's my turn. What are you going to do to motivate me? What are you going to do for me so I can be where I want to be in life? But instead, all she was doing, in my opinion, was holding him back in life. She wouldn't give him any money. He couldn't have a phone. She isolated him from his family. Okay? So in a lot of ways, I can see why he feels like she used him, because a marriage is about give and take. Okay? My mother has always told me that. It's about give and take. I motivate you, you motivate me. My fiance can motivate me to want to have a career here on YouTube. He has bought me this computer. He's bought me a camera. He wants me to succeed. So when he starts a business or whatever it is he wants to do, I'm not going to try to hold him back. I'm going to tell him, go do it. Right? You're going to motivate a person, to your significant other, to want to excel, to want to be better, to want to get bigger, right? You're not going to hold them back, take away their phone, not have you're a married couple and not have any access to money to be able to be a better person in life, period. She wasn't doing anything for him. He was doing everything for her. That's why he felt used. That's why he felt like, all you do is use me. You use me for your own financial gain, your own personal gain. You don't give a fuck about me. You have to understand what it's like to be with a narcissist, you guys. I have, okay? I've been in an abusive relationship when I was younger, but I've been with a narcissist. And they will suck the life out of you, you guys. They literally will. I had to take this mint out now. Never mind. It's almost melting. They will suck the life out of you. No matter what you argue about, it's always your fault. They will make you feel like you could be telling them and confiding in them and telling them how you feel. And some way, somehow, it always turns into, well, you only feel that way because it's your fault. It's not my fault. It's your fault. They will literally suck everything about you. They will suck it all out of you. I'm not even joking. Hey, Magician's Manor. It's good to see you. Me too, Cassie. Me too. Vaughn needs an advocate in place before he wakes up. I agree. That's a very, very good idea. Magician's Manor is amazing. Make sure you guys subscribe to him as well. He's amazing. I just hope and pray that he wakes up, gets better, and after he gets better, he is able to tell us his side of the story and get away from her permanently. Amen. Until you're with a narcissist, it's hard to understand the manipulation, love bombing, projection, deflection, gaslighting, etc. It's crazy. It is. It is. Like, you can be sitting there having a conversation with them and saying, look, Vaughn could sit there and have a conversation with her and say, look, everything is about you right now, but it's my turn. I'm going to go to therapy now. Okay. I'm going to get myself together. And what is your significant other supposed to do? Without question, I'm here. What do you need me to do? What does it take for you to get from A to B? Do you need to be with your family? Do you need whatever it is that you need? I'm going to do the best that I can to excel you and help you be a better person. That is a marriage. Now, being with a narcissist, it's, why do you need to do this? Who told you that I was using you? As if he couldn't create that in his head as a strong, intelligent man. It's somebody else had to tell him that. Somebody else is getting into his head. Why? Because he can see you for who you truly are now? Right. He said he couldn't even buy a sandwich for $5. She isolated him from everything. She took care of the money. She took care of everything that isolated him. So basically, he comes to a spot where he wants to get himself together. Guarantee he has tried to sit down and have many talks with her and say, look, I want to better myself. It's time for me to get myself together now. I don't want to sit in this house and only cater to you. I want to live my life. I want to see my family. I want to be happy. Okay? And what does a narcissist say? Why do you want to see your family? They're toxic. This is what a narcissist says, okay? Why do you want to see your family? They're toxic. What do you need money for? Who's telling you this? Who's making you feel this way? Well, you only feel that way because it's because of you, or it has to be because of somebody else. You didn't come up with this on your own. Every single thing that you tell them, any kind of feeling that you have, it's always deflected back on you. Any kind of emotion that you have, they're looking at you emotionalist. Like, why are you so emotional? They are the most manipulative bloodsuckers. I'm not even joking, you guys. Like, literally, energy suckers. It is crazy, and it's almost very, very hard to describe in words what it's like to be with somebody like that. It's very hard to describe. So then not only do you have this woman trying to deprive this man of ever excelling in life, even though he helps her get to wherever it is that she wanted to be, you have her calling the cops on him. You can probably imagine Vaughn's frustration, right? Her trying to snatch a cell phone out of his hand and doing crazy stuff to make him feel like, to basically emasculate him. And this is a Marine, you guys. This is a Marine. So emasculating a Marine, my brother was a Marine. So I know, and he started when he was 18 years old. So I know what it's like to be emasculated. It's hard to explain, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And then you have her calling the cops on him and pretty much leaving like little breadcrumbs, making the police think that somehow he was abusing her, when literally we all know who was abusing, in my opinion. So to me, even though obviously I'm not a doctor, this is all alleged, I can only say my opinion, and I'm entitled to my own opinion. But I think it's both. I don't think that she has necessarily, like, she is completely Munchausen by proxy, in my opinion, allegedly. However, I do feel like in a lot of ways, once she's seen what certain things were doing to him as far as seizures and how it would literally incapacitate him, I think she used that to her advantage, in my opinion, because it's always, if you're the type of person, especially a narcissist, where you're isolating your significant other, it's almost like hitting a gold mine when your significant other becomes completely and 100% dependent upon you, especially with their life. Okay, with their life, them being dependent upon you as their caretaker. In my opinion, I don't think she purposely wanted him to have seizures. However, I do think once she's seen how much, when it started happening, how dependent he was on her, I feel like she wanted to keep it that way, if that makes sense. That's just allegedly my opinion. This is a woman, obviously, who has severe mental problems, in my opinion. Like, allegedly. Like, she literally, you can tell that she's just that type who will use any and everything to get attention. And that is why she's constantly in front of a camera, even at the most sensitive, vulnerable, crucial, critical times of her life. She's on camera taking selfies, showing her nails, having her makeup all done, having her hair all done, you know, whether it's a wig or not, her hair all done, whatever, being on point. That's how a narcissist is in a lot of ways. And I also think that she loves and craves that attention. Obviously, she does. Otherwise, she wouldn't have the following that she does. And that's just the truth. That's what scares me the most. Manipulative narcissists are so good at their game that they can twist it so the police and courts they can. You're right. You are 100% right. I ain't going to lie about that. They are very, very good at what they do. Even the only reason why Amber Heard wasn't good at what she did is because Johnny Depp had some damn good attorneys, okay? That he spent millions and millions of dollars on. If it wasn't for Johnny Depp's good attorneys, phenomenal attorneys, amazing attorneys, I don't think that people would have seen Amber Heard for who she truly is. That's just my opinion. Because I think a lot of people already knew the way Amber Heard was, but I'm talking about the jury, the people who she kept looking at constantly, okay, when she was talking, not acknowledging the attorney when they're asking her questions, but looking at the jury, which is what narcissists do. They do that's a manipulation tactic, a classic narcissist move to make the attorney, what's her name? Camille Vasquez, and which I love her, by the way. That is to basically make Camille Vasquez feel like she's inadequate. So she's an inadequate. She don't give a fuck about her. She's gonna look at the jury because the jury is who matters, not Camille. The jury is who she has to convince. But here's the thing with a narcissist. There's a certain way that you have to be able to handle a narcissist, and Camille knew how to do it in every aspect of the word. She knew how to break that woman, and it was so beautiful to watch. It really was, because a narcissist, Amber Heard is good. She's good. She's a liar, and she's good at it. Okay? She sucks at being an actress. She can't cry worth anything. But we, the people, the court of public opinion, we knew how she was. But it was the jury. And I personally think that if Camille Vasquez wasn't a freaking genius of a lawyer, Johnny Depp he would have lost if he didn't have them as attorneys. You have to know how to deal with a narcissist, and Camille knew how to do it. And even if this turns into something bigger with Dre, you have to be able to know how to deal with somebody like her, because they are so manipulative. They are good at making people feel bad for them. They are good at playing the victim. Nobody's better at playing a victim than a narcissist. Nobody. So, and I'm talking about playing a victim. I personally don't look at Dre as a victim. I think that she is just a very manipulative and also a woman that needs help. Big time. Okay, I'm going to read some of these comments. If I miss something important, just put it down there and I will read it again. She won't get charged with giving him herbs because they were both willingly taking it all. Maybe charged for giving it to the kids. Maybe Savannah. Dre needs a lie detector done. I agree. Even though lie detector tests, they don't hold up in the court of law. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, which I don't know. I kind of think that's a good thing that they don't hold up in the court of law. I don't know. A lie detector test is iffy, especially because they can't hold up in the court of law. You know what I mean? I'm glad I found your channel. Been watching for a couple of weeks. You do great work. Thank you, Let It Be. I appreciate you being here. Well, it's still an open case. She's under investigation. We don't know what will come of it. Maybe she will have to answer and suffer the consequences. I hope so. I really do. Savannah, there are videos of him saying he didn't need it. Is there? Somebody needs to send me those videos because there have been times where he has said, I think I'm good. And she's like, oh, go ahead and take some more. But any video I have seen, Jamie, it's been of him willingly taking what she's giving him. That's the only thing. If there is videos out there like that of him not wanting to, that's great. But I haven't seen that video. I haven't seen all the videos. Her mom used to say she needs mental help. I definitely think that, yeah. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm just saying something's off. And I know he said no to the herbs a few times, but still opened his mouth for them. Oh, okay. Huh. I'd have to do some research on that. Yeah, where's her family? I agree. She doesn't really talk much about her family, does she? But she can sit there and talk badly publicly about Vaughn's family. And to me, she has zero respect. The more and more I watch her, the more upset that I get. She has zero respect for anybody, but she doesn't even have respect for herself. You can't have respect for others if you don't have respect for yourself. But she literally, the way that she talks about Vaughn's mother, and his family, especially Vaughn's mother, I don't care what you think of that woman. She is still your mother-in-law and your husband's mother, and you still should treat her with respect. And I think it's disgusting the things that she has said about Letitia. She should be ashamed of herself. And she would never put up with that shit if it was vice versa. She would never, if it was vice versa and maybe she was estranged from her mother for a little bit and didn't see her, she would never let Vaughn disrespect her mother the way that she fucking disrespected Vaughn's mother, Letitia. Shame on her. That is so disgusting. It pisses me off. Letitia was 14 years old. We all make mistakes at that age. For goodness sakes, I was 15 or 16. I was young. Everyone makes decisions that they feel that are best for them. And at the end of the day, it's not her place to sit there and judge that woman for that and put all her business out there publicly like that. Is Drake close with her family or in any RL friends? I don't know. She doesn't really talk about her family that much. I know she speaks about her mother, but that's about it. They also need to arrest her for keeping Vaughn's money from VA. This is so sad. Exactly. She needed it in 2013. She needed what, Faith? They're married. His money is also her money. Exactly. When you're married, it's not about you or I, it's we. That wasn't just her money. That was his money too. And I don't care if he may not have been sitting there putting makeup on or whatever the situation is. At the end of the day, that settlement was his. At the end of the day, he helped her get to where she's at. That was a team effort as a couple. And there's no way she should have kept anything from him. period. But she did it on purpose. Energy vampires, exactly. That's what it's called. Everybody is toxic in her opinion except her. Exactly, genuine. Her money was also his money. Exactly. It should be like that. I mean, I'm not married, and my money is his money, and his money is my money. That's just the way that it is. Um, he has no access, Savannah. She got mad because he used 25 to open an account. She did. That's very, very true, Savannah. Literally everything she said to him, I don't know who you are anymore. I imagine he realized this because once you do, you can recognize a narcissist everywhere now and you want to stay away. I agree, Sandy. And I also will say that once you see a narcissist for who they are, you can't unsee it. Like, you can't unsee it. You cannot unsee the deflection, the projection, the master manipulation, the manipulation tactics, the things that they do, the lies. They lie so badly. Most narcissists will put you through mental and verbal abuse, and physical sometimes. But the point is, once you see it, once you see how manipulative they are, you can't unsee it. And you realize you don't want to be with somebody like that. You don't want to spend your life with somebody who's sucking all the energy out you. You just don't. All of the positive energy, they will suck everything about you, everything that makes you. It's crazy. Savannah, but he couldn't access it when he wanted it and needed to. He couldn't. She made sure of that, Savannah. If he would have filed for divorce, all money and assets would be halved. Maybe. She has the kids. She probably would have gotten the kids. I don't know. I'm sure those 25 police calls look suspicious after a while. Right. I agree, Michelle. Yep. Billy Martin says she gives me Kathy Bates vibes. Yeah. I don't know what vibe. She gives me Amber Heard vibes. I'm not going to lie. She does. I would lose it if I found out my husband was hiding that kind of money from me. Absolutely, I would. I would be very, very mad. Savannah, yes, when he did that, she was manipulative, that he couldn't leave. He didn't even have a phone to call people, a way to leave, family, friends, etc. He was truly trapped. It was very, very sad. It was. And that's what's turning into the phenomenon of this case. It is very complex. It's very dark. It's very sinister. It is something that I think there are so many unanswered questions. And I think that's the most thing of why people are so intrigued by it. Hi, Donna and Jess. How are you? Completely insane, Goose. He could have went to a neighbor and used their phone. There's always a way out if you try hard enough. There is. However, to me, Savannah, you're looking at this as if you're not looking at this as the whole picture. You're only looking at the things that you want to look at. If you can sit there and say that he could have went to a neighbor or things like that. So would you say that to somebody who was in an abusive relationship? Would you say that to somebody that was in a physical abusive relationship with somebody? Could you say to them, well, they could have went to a neighbor, they could have went here, they could have went there? You don't know somebody's thought process when they're in that situation. You don't know what he could have done because you weren't there. When she was standing in front of his hospital bed and wanted that pic taken, I lost it. I bet. And they also get very offended if you disagree, blocking anyone who asks her questions she doesn't want them to. Yes, that's one of the reasons why I stopped talking to her. I stopped watching her because she was so rude. Anybody who asked her a question, I think it was somebody asked her something simple and she didn't like it and she blocked them. It was ridiculous. They don't like to be questioned for anything that they do. He shouldn't have gotten in contact with a lawyer. That's not that simple, Savannah. Maybe for you, but it's not always that simple. Um, God wants this light on Vaughn. Amen. I agree, Cassie. He couldn't go anywhere alone, Savannah. That's what I'm saying. It's very easy for people to judge and say what you could or couldn't have done if you weren't there, if you've never been in that situation before. You know, like I was in an abusive relationship when I was young. And let me tell you something. There are people who have said those things to me, but a majority of those people who have said, you should have did this, you should have did that, which that's the last thing you should say to a victim. However, it's easy for people to judge if you've never been there. It is. She thought she was smarter than Camille, and she just kept talking and talking and dug herself into a huge hole. Exactly. But she dug herself into a huge hole because of Camille. Because Camille knew the questions to ask her. She knew how to undermine. She knew how to undermine Amber Heard's arrogance. Okay, she literally broke that woman down, and that's very hard to do with a narcissist. So if it wasn't for the line of questionings that Camille asked Amber, if it wasn't for the way she handled Amber, they wouldn't have won this case. That's for sure. And it was a team effort. I'm talking about from all the attorneys, but basically from Camille questioning Amber, she knew the questions to ask. She knew how to contain herself. She just handled that impeccable. Oh my gosh, that woman. I love Camille Vasquez. Oh my gosh. Can she be Letitia's attorney, please? Let me see here. He couldn't take a breath without asking for permission. That's very true. If you didn't think that was weird, then wow, I knew something was wrong with that. From point one, people don't do that at a trial. If you didn't think that was weird, then wow, I knew something was wrong with that. From point one, people don't do that at trial. Don't do what? Sandy, what do you mean? And I'm so ever thankful she took everyone doing for the ride boost. I was married to one. He still has so many people fooled. Amen. I was with one, and he definitely has people fooled, but more and more people are starting to see him for who he truly is. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy about that. He was able to walk. He could have walked to a shop or a neighborhood and used their phone. He really didn't try to leave. Now, you see, Savannah, you need to be careful because right now, in my opinion, you're starting to cross over to victim shaming, in my opinion, because you cannot sit there and say a person really didn't try, or they really didn't do this, or they really didn't do that. Now you're crossing over to almost shaming him because he should have did this and he should have did that. And like I said, until you're in this situation, you don't have a right to judge. And just because you do something doesn't mean he could. You don't know what he could or couldn't have done, especially in the situation that he was in, especially since he was having seizures, things like that. You don't know what he could have done. You don't. She emasculated him and kept him isolated and without a way to communicate with anybody. She took his phone for texting his old friends. How do you expect him to just leave or call a lawyer for help? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're crossing a line here, Savannah. And I am all for people sharing their opinions, and you're well within your right to do so. But if you start victim shaming, I'm gonna put you in timeout, because you have to be careful when you say those types of things. Because I can tell you right now, for me, being in a relationship like that for so many years, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people tell me what I should have done. I don't like that. Because you don't tell somebody, you don't know the mental place that somebody's in when they're in that situation. And when you're talking like that, you're being very, very judgmental. Saying yes, but when you're being abused, it's very, very different, especially when you have a child. It's not as easy to leave like some think. It took me 4 times and I still have. Exactly, 7 years later. Exactly. And same with myself. And I still struggle with a lot of things because of it. And one of the biggest things when people say to me, you should have done this, you should have done that, it's a slap in the face. It really is. And to say that when this man is laying in a coma right now, fighting for his life, you need to be a little bit more sensitive when it comes to things like this, when it comes to cases like this. She can't even cry either, right, Sandy? She had set up a paper trail for him, hence the 25 calls, and I'm sure he knew he would call. I'm sure I'm sure she I'm sure he knew she would call the cops on him and lie. In my opinion, he was worried about catching a charge or never seeing his son, so he felt like it. There's a lot of things I think he worried about, and he confessed to them a lot through text messages. And one of the things that he didn't want people to think is that he was leaving his family behind, that he was just leaving and, leaving her with all the responsibilities. And that's how Marines, I can tell you right now, a lot of Marines, any man in general, but Marines, that's how they think. You know, I feel like he was raised by his great grandma. So you have to not his great grandma, I'm sorry, but his grandma. So you have to understand the mindset. I feel like he was probably raised in a very old fashioned way to be the the provider and things like that. And to me, she took all of that away from him. So I felt that's one of the things that he confessed in text messaging. And I think that's on Without a Crystal Balls channel, unfortunately. But he said, I just don't want her to think that I'm just going to leave. I don't want people to think I'm going to leave my family behind. I think that definitely bothered him. Women find a way out of DV situations all the time. Men can too. Yes, sometimes. Sometimes. And what do you say to the ones who didn't? What do you say to the ones who were in a DV situation and it ended up with them no longer being here? Would you say that to them too? Especially when you're dealing with someone who is clearly mentally unstable. She was calculated. It's not easy to leave. I agree. Yeah, and a lot of those women who try to leave DV situations end up, yes, trying to leave is the most dangerous time in a relationship. Exactly. I think, Savannah, like I said, you're welcome to your opinion, but be careful because this is a very sensitive topic, and always telling what people should or shouldn't do. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Because, like I said, there are so many women and men who don't make it out of those situations. So what would you say to them? Someone having seizure very regularly does not affect their memory and are more suggestible. Yeah. Or does affect their memory. Absolutely, Joby. Question. Um, she's such a cop caller. Why couldn't she call the emergency on his? Exactly. I was thinking that too, Faith. Why would you call the police and not the emergency when it comes to that? Like, that just shows you where she's coming from right there. His way of leaving was ending his life, not trying to walk out the door to beg someone for help, which is what she should have done. Which is what he should have done. You're making no sense, Savannah. I'm sorry. You're not. First of all, you don't know, and neither do we. I'm sorry, but were you there, Savannah? Were you there with them? How do you know he tried to end his life. Why? Because she said so? He tried saying no a few times. Savannah, with all due respect, please be careful with your comments. I guarantee you that survivors would tell you different, and that's it. It's not as easy as some think. It's also the most dangerous time to leave. It is. And I'm not going to tell you that again, Savannah. Okay? I'm not. Be careful because, like I said, you weren't there. And if you say one more disparaging thing, you're going to be blocked. Okay? Her family knows she's a whack job, so she probably cut them off too. You are entitled to your opinion, but to me, right now, you are victim shaming. And I don't know if you're doing it on purpose, okay? But if you are, shame on you. Dre keeping anti-seizure meds and appointments with neurologists is very dangerous. Every grandma seizure you have, the higher risk you are for I know. That's what my niece told me. My niece is a nurse. Her family knows I read that. I'm one of those survivors. I got out. Others have too. He could have gotten out. That's your opinion, and you're entitled to that. But I disagree. Okay? Because you got out. But I got out. But what do you say to the ones who didn't? Is that their fault? No, it's not. It's definitely not that easy, Savannah. Not everyone is as strong as you, I guess. Jeez, exactly. It's not that easy. Some people don't have family around. Some people don't have friends. Thankful for me, I had family who helped me. But if it wasn't for my mother, I don't know where I would be, So it is every situation is different, and none of us have a right to judge and say what somebody should have done or what they shouldn't have done. It's not our place. No, she doesn't talk about her family at all, really, except her mom every once in a while. I know I've never heard her talk too much about her family. I know I heard her talk about her brother once, and I think she said that she doesn't see him, but that's it. There are videos where she slips him Z when he is having seizures and has no knowledge. And that's messed up. Sometimes it's not that easy. I agree. The man who was a Marine, he was strong. That's your interpretation. I think mentally, she definitely broke him in a lot of ways. It doesn't always have to be physical, okay? And to me personally, I would rather be in a relationship. I would rather not have any kind of mental or verbal, but sometimes mental and verbal abuse can be worse. At least physical, you have a chance of defending yourself. But when it comes to mental and verbal abuse, that's your head. And people messing with your head. Hey, Manny behind the mic. Welcome. I've been on your channel a couple of times. You have a great channel. Thanks for being here. Savannah, not everyone can get out. We see it happen all the time for many reasons. Exactly. And like I said, it wasn't physical anyway. It was mentally, it was verbally. I feel like that man was broken down in a lot of ways. It's called SUDEP, sudden unexpected death in epileptic person. Wow. I never heard of that. Savannah, please don't bash people who didn't leave. There could be people here that your comment couldn't trigger. Thank you. Thank you, Goose, for telling her that. I'm a survivor too. It's extremely difficult to get out. It is. It was very, very hard for me. Very hard. And I thank God that I had a tough mother that was not playing around. She just was not playing. She broke him down. Strong people break. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. I always respected my mother-in-law, and I'm divorced from her son. Exactly. I will always be respectful. Like, I can't understand how anybody could be so disrespectful to somebody and to just publicly come out there and just start bashing her as a mother, as a person. To me, if you can sit there and talk about it shows you her lack of respect for anybody, including her own husband. If you can walk around bashing, you know, your mother-in-law, the mother of your husband, it just shows your lack of respect even for your husband. Now, unfortunately, he let her do that, which he should have stopped. But in that same sense, that was his wife, and she was manipulating him. She was manipulating him into thinking that she wasn't a good mom and all those things. You know what I mean? It's such a complex story. It really is. He said he didn't want any. He said he didn't want any, but yet if he said, oh, take more, he would say, okay, modern day Jezebel. Yep. I'm not bashing. I'm saying he should have tried. And that's your interpretation, Savannah. That's what you think. He saved lives, though. Just because you made it out doesn't mean everyone can. Also doesn't mean they didn't try. Exactly. Like I said, that's your interpretation. You don't know what he tried doing because you weren't there, Savannah. None of us were. We're trying to figure out by studying, you know, behavior and things like that. But the only person who knows really what happened is the people who were there, which is Dre and Vaughn. And maybe somebody else seen it, you know. Here. Exactly, Selena. How do you know he didn't try? You weren't there. She's on and off with her mom and no relationship with her sister anymore. Well, that sucks. Thank you for being here. She doesn't seem like she holds, and most narcissists don't. They don't do well with outsiders. They like to keep their little small circle for no one else to see how they are. Don't downplay the holistic world, though. Either the government has FDA-approved opiates, also that they purposely put out on the streets. Let's not go with the doctors knows best narrative either. Nobody's going with the doctors knows best narrative. Never have, never will. And I don't know where you would get that from, because let's put it this way. I'm saying that regardless of how much you are against Western medication, when you do those types of things, for one, you have to know what you're talking about. For two, you can't go to your audience and be irresponsible and tell them that you can cure cancer and all those kinds of things. I have very, very much been vocal about I am a conspiracy theorist, and there's a lot of things that I'm anti-government. But I will say that when it comes to herbs, they can be just as dangerous, if not more, than Western medicine. And that has been proven, especially when you're taking the herbal medicines and different things like that, and yet you're still taking Western medication and not telling your doctor certain things, and these things can interact with each other and can ultimately kill you. You have to be careful. You do. His parents should sue in civil court for her crimes against Vaughn. I think definitely his parents has a case with the police only being there for 33 minutes. That's for sure. It was very, very negligent on their part. They didn't do enough investigation at all. 33 minutes is not enough time to do any kind of thorough investigation. Manny, did you get pizza? Pizza sounds good. We had pizza yesterday. Savannah, she kept him sickly. She did. He couldn't even walk outside without her following him. She's older. She manipulated the hell out of him, and she sure did. And, you have to understand that she was in her 30s, I think, and he was only 21 years old. I can't remember how old she was, but she was way older. She had already been married. She already had kids. That's why Letitia had some had some genuine concerns. And I would have those same concerns for my 21-year-old. I've never seen any evidence that he actually ran out the house away from her, even if it tried once. You probably wouldn't see that evidence either. None of us know how much he tried. Exactly. None of us do. Narcissists are good salespeople. They sure are. Savannah, he did try to leave one night and ask for some money to get a hotel. And after that, I truly believe he felt defeated and broken down by her. Yep. I think she should have kept her duet strictly to herself and not her hubby and kids. You mean diet, strictly to herself. That's true. And I don't know why. I think she just felt like, she's going on a whole alkaline vegan diet, and I think she thought this is a, very clean and herbal, and you're natural. You're only putting natural things into your body. So I think in her head, she thought this is the right way to go, not only for me, but for my family, right? Run away from the house, and then what? He had no money, couldn't drive. Thank you, let it be. Did you all see the post? Yes, I did. I'll be going over that tomorrow. She gives me a headache, you guys. We only know what she shared exactly. We don't know everything. I was with one for 25 years when I finally saw divorce 18 months later and never felt better. And I want to say congratulations to everybody, every woman, every man, because guess what? DV has no gender. It doesn't matter who it is, woman, man. If you got out of a relationship like that, abusive relationship, whether mentally, verbally, physically, congratulations to you. You are strong, and I'm so proud of you because it's one of the hardest things to endure, and it's one of the hardest things to get out of. So please know how strong you are, okay? And if you ever for 1 second think that you're not, you are. You are probably one of the most strongest people in the world when you can get out of a relationship like that. So pat yourself on the back for that. Okay, Savannah, we get it. Please stop victim shaming. And if it happens again, where? Like I told you before, be careful. Like I said, I love all opinions, but I want all opinions welcome. But you cannot victim shame. And you're not going to do it here. So, little mama says, Savannah, where is he going to run to? His family is across the country. His friends were cut off. No phone numbers because they're in his phone. No money, no vehicle. Right. Like, it's common sense. He had no money, no phone, no family to help. Nothing. What did she hold over him? We don't know. I'm just saying, if you're in this situation, you do everything possible to get out of it. Isn't that what we tell DV victims? Yes, it is. But how do you know what was told to him? How do you know that he told anybody? You don't know anything because you weren't there. And you cannot automatically assume that you did know because you know nothing. You're being judgmental and you're victim shaming right now. That's what you're doing, and you should be ashamed of yourself for it. It's okay to say, I wish he could have did this, and I wish he could have did that. But to sit there and say he should have did this and he should have did that, no. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're in timeout. I told you I'm not going to put up with that. You're not. I've given her many warnings. I hate seeing victim shaming, and no offense, but MGL and Justin are somewhat bigoted people. And you're entitled to your opinion, Jill. Broke out 13 of 17 and before police arrived. Sorry. Yep. My mom came and got me with my brothers. Because one of the things that when you're in that type of a relationship, what they rely on is for you to tell nobody. And you are ashamed to tell people. You are. And I was. And my mother found out. Thank you, Goose. She kept him messed up on herbs and things from Mexico, took his phone, took his keys, made a paper trail, talked talked of him having mental issues. He was totally under her power, no strength to leave. Amen. I want to know why she hates hospitals and convinced him to think the same. If it saves your life, why not? Because anyone, in my opinion, who has Munchausen by proxy, they like going to the hospital for the attention. However, they always think they know more than the doctor. If you go back to past live streams that I did about this, one of the things that she would say is that this doctor's wrong, that doctor's wrong, in my unprofessional opinion. They don't know, they're giving him too much of a strong milligram of this. She thought that she knew better than the doctors, okay? To a point where she's filming in the hospital. They ask her to leave, and she convinced and manipulated her own husband to leave the hospital. Okay? That's the type of manipulation she had over him. So to her, yes, hospitals are better, but hospitals don't work in her favor because hospitals aren't going to let her get away with whatever it is that she wants to. They're not going to let her sit there and tell them how to do their job. And she doesn't want her whole ideology of I'm always right. I know my husband's body better than anyone else's, and I know what I'm doing, and I know what's for him and what's not for him. They're not going to sit there and cater to her ego. And if you don't cater to a narcissist's ego, they don't want nothing to do with you. That's just how they are. So obviously she's going to want to stay away from, doctors and things like that. Why do you think that when Vaughn was arguing with her and telling her, you're only doing this, you've used me to get to where you wanted to, why do you think she kept saying, where did you get that from? Where did you get that from? Why do you think she said in the police report, he was fine until he started going to a physical therapist, and then he started getting verbally and mentally abusive? Why do you think? Because those people in his life were outsiders, and they compromised, her ego, and she didn't like that. So everyone around him who wasn't in her inner circle, they're messed up, They're all messed up. That's how a narcissist works. That's just how they work. They don't like anybody, telling them what they can or can't do. Just like in the hospital, when Vaughn's father came and his stepmother came to the hospital. Do you know how much she loved that, to tell them, no, they can't be here, call security. They can't be here. And they know they can't be here. Do you know how powerful she felt? But do you know how much she probably wanted to literally strangle the people who told her, actually, our policy is you cannot keep anyone from visiting him. Do you know how much that damaged her ego? Do you know how mad she was? That's why she said, can you bring me proof? To undermine them. They're telling her, this is our policy. Well, can you get that in writing for me? And can I speak to one of the higher ups? They can never be wrong. Narcissists, they can never be wrong. Can I speak to the higher up? And then what does he say? We actually don't have to show you anything. So what does she do? She goes to her subscribers. I know they're lying. They can never be wrong. And if they are proven wrong, guess what? What did she do? She moved them to a different hospital where they are going to tell her she's right and she can do this and she can do that. And she'll take him to hospital to hospital to hospital until she finds that one that's going to cater to her ego. That's the way it works. It does not show up in blood work unless specifically tested for, and it's a different kind of drug panel. That's good to know. I didn't know that. Ooh, I missed a lot of comments. I missed a lot of comments, you guys, but I had a lot to say. Exactly. She's like, I need to see that in writing. Can I see the higher up, please? And they're literally sitting there telling her, no. There, you can see the higher up. I don't know if the counselor's still here, or I can try to get somebody for you, but that really is our policy. And then she looks to her subscribers while she's fucking live and says, they're lying. They're lying. I know they're lying. They can never be wrong. Do you have any idea what it's like to be with somebody like that? I can't believe she had the nerve to call UMPD and ask them to hide the police report from Vaughn's family regarding this whole situation. Who does she think she is? She thinks that she is above everyone else. Everyone else is down here to her. She's up here. Okay? That's why she tried to keep them away. But by then, the herbs will be out of the kids. She ain't gonna go down. Plus, she's light-skinned. So we know how the lovely justice system helps. And that's the thing. And how I'll always say, and, I do agree with Sherelle's world. And I do agree that it is nice to have a bigger creator who is African-American covering this, because she can bring so much more exposure to this case. But like I said, I'll always acknowledge the racist undertones of this case. Okay. And I will always acknowledge, I really don't feel like Dre would have gotten as far as she has if it wasn't for her privilege. There's no way she would have gotten away. Hospitals would have been looking at her suspect when she's doing this, and pretty much he's having seizure after seizure. She brings him to the hospital, and they're not questioning her even further as to why she's not giving him medication, the proper medication to stop this. No, they're just asking to see their marriage certificate. But I really do feel like she wouldn't have made it this far, crossing over the border. Okay, smuggling stuff into America illegally. Listen, if it wasn't for her being white, it don't matter if she has Latino in her. I'm talking about she's a white, whatever. If it wasn't for her privilege, there's no way she would have gotten away with all of this stuff. If it was somebody like a Black woman or whatever, like me, there's no way. She's gotten away with a lot, and it's very, very important to acknowledge those types of things. And yes, it's uncomfortable for some people, but it is what it is. It doesn't have to turn into that, but it definitely needs to be acknowledged. And it will be acknowledged by me. Yep, I'm saying unless it's OJ, then good luck. I don't understand why they didn't say she needed to be evaluated right then and there. Exactly. Maybe her family knows about her, or she don't bring them around for a reason. She probably doesn't. They were still taking the herbs her last live. And then she starts music and starts singing as she walks from. It's crazy. It's crazy. She lives on a high horse. Yep. Everybody's down here to a narcissist. Everyone's beneath them. They're always up here. Always. And if you undermine their authority of what they think they are, or if you damage their ego in any way, they're going to make sure they go somewhere where their ego is catered to. I can't believe she actually admitted to hiding drugs in her hoo-ha on a live. Who does that and tells people? Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. If that was somebody else, there's no way she would have gotten where there's just no way. There's no way. And like I said, she's gotten away with a lot of things throughout her, especially her very public makeup career and being a vlogger and telling people this and telling people that. She has gotten very, very far for her privilege, because I really don't think that she would have gotten this far if it wasn't for that. There's no way that people would just be able to ignore those types of things. 25 calls makes me sick to my stomach. How the hell did they not even think to look into this father? They were there for now more than 45 minutes. My heart hurts for Vaughn so much. I know, Sherry and Gavin. I know. It breaks my heart. I bet she will get charged with something. It just takes time. They probably are waiting for him to, so they can charge her with, I know what you mean. But regardless, she still should be charged for something. I hope that he makes it through this. I'm praying that he makes it through this. And regardless, she should be charged with something, no matter what. True, but every white person I know, myself included, see that woman for the rent she is and 100% support on his family. And that's true. I'm not saying that that makes it any different. I'm just saying that the racial undertones need to be acknowledged. It doesn't take away from anybody feeling the way that they do about this case and feeling the way that they do about Dre. But it still doesn't change the fact that if it was vice versa, things would be different. It is what it is. It's reality. And those things should always be called out. And that's what I do on my channel. I call those types of things out. She said one time it's her fault. It's her fault her would get upset and get seizures. Yes, she did. She did. One time she said when she gets him upset, she knows it's her fault because he'll start to have seizures. Oh, trust her little privilege is over because she has the city on the hook for a major lawsuit. I hope so. She should be charged with practicing medicine without a license with her subscribers until they can go further with Vaughn and the kids. I agree. She is not a person of color regardless. She has skated by because of that. Thank you, Donna and Jess. That's what I mean. And no matter who wants to acknowledge it and who doesn't, it's always going to be acknowledged on my channel. Oh, if it was vice versa, Vaughn would be in jail while they investigate. Exactly. They would have locked him up and threw away the key. And that's the truth. You guys are just so amazing. I'm so happy that, of course, we went longer than I expected, but oh well, it's just going to be like that. Tomorrow will be 2 months. Light a candle and pray, please. Absolutely, I will. I pray every day. Every day. And I'll come on here and we can all pray together if you guys want. As a mom, I feel absolutely horrible for those kids who knows what they have seen and been through. I know. And that's what I've said from the very beginning. They, from day one of this happening, they should have gotten help. And they needed to be, in therapy and things like that. There's so much going on around these children. And my heart and prayers are with the children, with Dre, with Vaughn. And I'm just praying for Vaughn and his family. And I pray that Vaughn makes it through this. And I believe that it's possible. I really do. I don't care what kind of diagnosis there is. It is possible for this man to wake up and be perfectly normal and be able to tell his side of the story and live a happy and full, successful life. And I pray that that happens and miracles happen every day. My husband has passed away at home and the coroner didn't even have to come because he was a man of color or what. And I look like I am not a color. Wow. That is just... They would have, if it was reversed, he'd be sitting in jail awaiting a sentence. Sad but true. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so shutting Savannah for questioning makes us no different. Okay. No. That's not what Savannah was doing. Savannah was victim shaming, in my opinion. When you can sit there and pretty much constantly say what a person should have done and what... You know what I'm saying? What they should be doing, how they could have did this, how they could have done that. I don't like those things. She was warned many of times. There's a difference between asking questions or making a statement like, I wish he could have done this, or I wish he could have done that. But that's not what she was doing. She was taking it a step further by sitting there pretty much blaming him for not walking out and leaving and all those stuff. I don't like that. I don't like that, especially for women and men in here who have been in that type of relationship before, and also for the women who didn't make it out of those types of situations. That is called having no respect, and I won't have it in my chat. You know, she can question, but that's not what she was doing. She was blaming him. She was blaming him. She even said that, you know, he unalived himself. Yes, that's what the report said, but we don't know that because we weren't there, and neither was she. For a man who has been through what this man has been through, it's not fair to blame him and sit there and shame him for not doing what she would have done or what somebody else would have done that made it out of that type of situation. Or even to talk about him unaliving himself. That's still wrong in my opinion. Basically shaming him for unaliving himself when we don't know that's what happened, but that's what she was doing. And I gave her chance after chance. And I will give you a chance when you're in my chat. I gave her too many chances. I don't play that shit in my chat. You can ask questions. You could even say, hey, I side with Dre. I think that you guys are too hard on her. And as long as you're respectful, I would sit here and listen. But if you are a victim shaming, you're crossing a line here. And you're being not only disrespectful to everyone who's been in those types of relationships, but you're also disrespecting the creator, which is me, who have been in that type of relationship before at a very young age. I do too, especially since his mom reported he does not need a vet anymore. They need to do another long-term EEG and brain scans to make sure if there is permanent damage. My niece is a nurse, and I'm going to interview her and see what her thoughts are. It was triggering as hell. She was rude. She was. The cops watched my ex bite me, and they still was confused about who they wanted to take to jail. That's sad. Yeah, I am, but I guess she's uneducated. Some just don't get it and need guidance. I agree, but to me, I don't think that's what she was doing. I think she's perfectly capable of understanding. She's just obviously is not capable of empathy. And empathy is very important when you're talking about things like this. I think she's fine. I think she's probably a very educated person. She lacks empathy, and that's not a good thing. She was not trying to understand. She was telling us what he should have done. She said she was a survivor. She did. She said she was a survivor and what she did, but you can't judge somebody for what you did. Nobody can compare what other people do. You know, you can't compare one DV relationship to the other because everyone is different and every circumstances is different. And I'm not going to have her triggering people doing that kind of stuff in my chat. I'm not going to have it. I think Jill B is a doctor. Well, if you are Jill B, get a hold of me. I still wonder why Raza said he wants his daddy to get better, but he does not want him to come back home. Really? He said that? Wow. I wonder why. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm an epileptic MD. I have seen people who should have been dead or died and still come out. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that, Jill B. There's a lot of questions that I have, but if you want to get a hold of me, Jill B, feel free. I absolutely adore you guys. This was such a great conversation, and ultimately, I think that Vaughn endured both from this woman. I think she definitely inflicted allegedly, in my opinion, inflicted some obviously verbal, mental, isolating him from everybody. Those are all signs of abuse. And then also Munchausen by proxy is abuse too. And it's very dangerous. And I do think that it's a mixture of both, and it's sad. And I still want to continue to break down Dre's behavior. So we will continue to talk about that. And if you guys ever have any ideas, anything that you want to tell me, you can message me. Everything is in my about section. You can email me, whatever you're comfortable with. But we're still going to kind of break this down. I will see you guys tomorrow. I watch and let Molly go lightly, but I also really love and appreciate your calm, insightful approach to all this. Your show tonight was very informative and interactive. Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate you being here, sweetie. It means a lot to me that you guys would spend your time with me. It does, because time is precious. I have a couple of days off, but I still have the mom job of a 19-month-old baby girl who has epilepsy and cardiac problems. Oh, I'm so sorry. But I still think that's amazing that you're able to navigate that as a mom, Joby. That's awesome. She is very blessed to have a mommy like you. Have an amazing night, all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I will see y'all tomorrow, hopefully earlier, but maybe not. And like I said, email me, contact me if you ever have anything that you want me to talk about or add when it comes to Dre or the situation. And we'll do this all over again tomorrow, you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for being amazing, interacting with me. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And that's it. Love y'all. Deuces. Have an amazing night. I'll see you guys tomorrow.